Why there's so little servers? It's not that there's so little servers. Everybody wants to play on a super server. Here's one of the things, ladies and gentlemen, is there is no cross realm queues, right? So basically right now you have two choices. You go on a super server, so you can like super server, for example, is like Faralina Horde, Benediction Alliance as examples, where the population is really high. And the reason why you want to play on those realms is so you have people to play with, right? When you log on, there's people that want to do dungeons, there's guilds that you can raid with, there's people that you can PvP with, there's just things to do. So when people are like, oh yeah, just transfer. It's like, okay, well, I'll just leave my guild, I'll leave all my friends, I'll leave the entire community that I've built. Like, you don't want to do that. There has to be a better solution. And I personally think, this is a hot take, but I personally think that they should add cross server queues. I feel like you should be able to do dungeons with people from different servers. You should be able to raid with people from different servers. And you should be able to do arenas with people from different servers. That way, if you wanted to avoid the queues, you could, and you wouldn't be completely isolated from the rest of the community. Now, a lot of people will say no changes. No changes. That's not, if you want retail, go play retail. But I seem to remember, and this is a good example, I think, I seem to remember a big problem in TBC where there was a lot of Horde and not a lot of Alliance. A lot of Horde, not a lot of Alliance. And if you were a Horde player and you wanted to play Battlegrounds, you would have to sit in an hour, 90-minute, 2-hour queue to play a single Battleground. And they offered, or they opened up, you know, the possibility, and they suggested like, hey, maybe we'll do like Horde versus Horde queues. They tried it out, and everybody loved it. But at first, there was so much pushback. No Horde versus Horde queues. People should have to re-roll Alliance. Like, nobody wants to do that. Nobody wants to leave their guild, leave their friends, delete their character. Like, people just want to play the damn game. And for any of you that are saying, like, I personally even think, like, I'll take it a step further. I think that they should even have cross-faction queues, because I feel like it's done nothing but good things for retail. And people will say, oh, these are a lot of like retail things, but I think these are a lot of retail things that are actual good changes that just let you play the game. Nobody on my server, and there's a lot of servers, a ton of examples. I'll show you this. TBC server populations. All right, let me just show you something. So Benediction, the most popular Alliance server, is 99.7% Alliance. This server is literally playing without Horde. They don't even have Horde. So people that are telling me, oh yeah, trust me, the classic community, they care a lot about Horde versus Alliance. Well, Benediction doesn't have Horde. Gehennis doesn't have Alliance. Faralina doesn't have Alliance. Firemaw doesn't have Horde. Golmeg doesn't have Alliance. Like, half these realms, over half these realms, don't even have the opposite faction. They literally don't even have the opposite faction. Nobody, like, we're on a PvP server, but I could fly around outside and not find a single person. There's gonna be zero Alliance. When I level, I'll tell you this. When I leveled in original Wrath of the Lich King, I made a build that was good in PvP and PvE because I knew I'd encounter some Alliance. I wore some PvP gear because I knew I'd encounter some Alliance. Now, I'm leveling full PvE, 0 PvP talents, 0 PvP gear, no PvP trinket. I'm not going to see one Alliance going from 60 to 70, or sorry, 70 to 80 in Wrath. There'll be 0. So the whole like, oh man, the classic population really cares about it. I feel like it is true, some people do care about it, but you could make like pure servers if you really wanted to. Like if Blizzard really wanted to, they could make like pure servers. Only Alliance can play with only Alliance. Only Horde can play with only Horde, but for everyone else, which is, in my opinion, I have to believe, most people do not care about Horde versus Alliance. Like, they just want people to play with. They want people to fill their groups. They want people to fill their raids. They want people to queue arena with. Nobody cares if it's a freaking human or an orc or whatever. Not nobody, but basically nobody. So I would love it if they did cross-faction stuff. They did cross-server stuff, just so you could log on and have people to queue with. Because I'll tell you this right now. Here's another thing. I'm so sad. Even right now, with just... Okay, so with the fact that there's no cross server and no cross faction means I literally can't play with half my friends immediately. The people I can play with is cut in less than half even. That sucks. Like all my friends from retail that I can just like invite them to my group and we could play together and play arena and do dungeons or do raids. Now it's automatically divided in half because they're arbitrarily Alliance and I'm arbitrarily Horde. I feel like those kind of limitations are like a thing of the past, man. At least in my opinion, like I feel like the majority of people, and maybe I'm wrong. Let me know if you think I'm wrong. Like, how many of you guys would rather, and then you say boost an ally mage. I don't want to have 2 characters. Like I literally am a full-time WoW player. I'm a full-time WoW player. I don't want to maintain 2 characters. I don't want to have 2 mages. I don't want to have one on Alliance and one on Horde. I don't have to raid on the, you know, clear the raids multiple times a week. Nobody wants to do that. People just want to play. They want to log on and play. I don't know. That's, I've been on Twitter, like, I would say I've been trolling about it. I definitely haven't been trolling, but it's an opinion that's it's a controversial opinion, right? So it's a I'll show you. What did I say? I was thinking about how awesome Wrath of the Lich King would be with cross-realm plus cross-faction queues. Fixes the problem of long queues on mega servers and solves the problem of having nobody to play with on smaller servers. That's true. Cross-faction has been nothing but a benefit on retail. So few people care about Horde versus Alliance. It's pretty clear when most of the super servers have a 99.9% Horde/Alliance favored. People are legitimately playing without the opposite faction existing, which is true. And then this person, go play retail if you want to play retail things. Like, dude, you want to know what I love about Wrath of the Lich King? I love class design. I love the way my mage feels to play. Like Fire, Frost, Arcane are all super unique. They're really, really enjoyable in PvP and PvE. They have really good rotations. The way you deal damage is very satisfying. The classes feel really unique. I like the way you can acquire PvP gear. I don't like how much PvE gear is kind of required, but I think the raids are fun. I think doing the battlegrounds is fun. Just the entire game is fun. I do not play Wrath of the Lich King because I want to beat Alliance. And I care about my, like, I don't really care about, I'm gonna be honest, this is another controversial take. I don't really care about my server that much either. Like, it's nice to fly around and see the same faces. And I do think there are problems with like the phasing and stuff like that, but you could fix that. I feel like there's ways you could go about that. Like, server identity is nice, and I think there's a lot of benefits to it, but I don't think the benefits of server identity outweigh like just being able to play with people.
Your soup is getting cold.
Let's have a bite of soup. That's all I'm gonna say. And I will also say this. I fully acknowledge that people disagree with me. And I'm not saying my opinion is right, but I kind of think it's right. I'm gonna have some matzo ball soup. And I think there is something to be said about server identity kind of being out the window with mega servers, yeah. And that's another really good point. It used to make a lot of sense where communities were built in game. Nowadays communities form outside of the game, right? That's true. Like people form, you know, their raids on Discord. I was actually thinking about that in retail. When I played at level 60 on retail, there was no way for me to communicate with Alliance. It was kind of hilarious. I mean, I guess I could have made like a forum post, but I remember just thinking that the Alliance players are just aliens. Like I could barely emote them. I couldn't type to them. Like all I could do is kill them, you know? The main reason I bring this stuff up is because there's a clear problem, right? There's a clear problem where you have to wait 5 hours to play the game. It makes no sense. You get home from work at 5 and you can't play till 10 p.m. Makes no sense. That should not be allowed to happen. If your solution to the problem is just transfer, you don't understand the problem. I feel like you don't get it. You don't get it. Nobody should have to wait 5 hours to play the game. It makes no sense. Like transferring to a dead server where you have nobody to play with is not a viable option. I'm sorry to say. You know what we should do? You know what I think is actually a better solution? What they need to do is just make it so people can only play for 5 hours a day. If you're on Fairlina, you have 5 hours a day to play, and that's it. Free up the servers a little bit, you know? That's the best solution. I'm joking, by the way. Yeah, but streamers should get to play 20 hours a day? Yeah, exactly. First time caller, long time viewer. I waited over 6 hours yesterday and was still 5,000 away from logging in on Benediction because that's where my friends play. Well, you should have thought about that before you wanted to play with your friends, okay? You can transfer anytime you want, bucko. I'm sure you'll have fun playing on Peggle. Absurge was just looking at the stats. Benediction has 20,000 people playing, and Old Blanchy, the server you can transfer to, has 300 people. Like, you're gonna transfer to Old Blanchy and just quit the game because unless you literally just want to play by yourself, Like, it's just not real. Old Blanchy should literally just be thrown in the dumpster. Sorry, Old Blanchy, it has to be done. We need to take Old Blanchy out back. The time has come, unfortunately. I'll just say this, it's a complicated subject, but I don't think leaving it the way it is good. I don't think anyone deserves to just sit in queue for 6 hours a day. Or have to use remote desktop and just like, I'll tell you this, when I was using remote desktop to log in or to just get in queue or whatever, it didn't feel good that I could never stop thinking about WoW. Like that's the thing I didn't like it the most, is I had to think about WoW all day. Like literally from the moment I woke up to like when I wanted to play, when I wanted to work and stuff like that, I had to think about like logging in the queue 4 hours in advance and worrying about, oh, am I gonna get logged out now? Like blah, 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 blah. It's actually so stressful and ridiculous. I hate it. It'd be nice if there's 1 month or 2 month transfer ticket. I don't think you should, I think they just need to take a more of a retail approach. And I know, like I said, people don't like that, but nobody wants to transfer. They just need to, they need to do something. They need, I swear they need cross-realm queues. Cross-realm queues, maybe people will cry too much about, I personally think cross-faction queues 100%, but cross-realm queues at the very least, I feel like is just, it's crazy not to have it. Yeah, the people that don't want cross-realm queues need to go back to classic Season of Mastery. It's so funny too, because so many of the retail quality of life changes are amazing, yeah. But people will like, so like here's some good things, like cross-faction queues, cross-realm queues, the new auction house, the new bag system, what else? There's a bunch of stuff. There's a bunch of stuff in retail that actually is kick-ass and was such a big improvement. But people need to realize like there's been good changes over the years. There's also been bad changes, but not all of them are bad.